Evening Super League. Just setting up. Get you the full show. And we are recording. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, hear you fine, mate.
Good, good. Well, good evening, Super League fans around the world. We're here again, midweek show. And we're joined by two of the biggest characters, not just in the Super League, but in the CM community. We've got Midlothian manager after a couple of weeks off from our trial show. Good evening, Iain.
How you doing, man? How you doing, everybody?
And we're joined by not only his illustrious and slightly controversial assistant, but the man behind the amazing Scandinord stream. We are joined by CMOntherocks himself. Good evening.
Good evening to everyone other than Chudley, who is a wank.
Just to more for you guys than anyone who chooses to watch this, just one little bit of housekeeping. No issue with language, no issue with drinking, no issue with anything, but we've only got roughly 35 minutes.
Go.
I think having you both on, the best place to start the review this week would be with Midlothian's win against Bolton Phoenix. In the context of the top six, in the context of the way the season has started, and in the context of where both teams are perceived, Iain, if I start with you, that is a massive win, in my opinion. What did you think?
I'd agree with you, Fife. I think people have been saying that our fixtures haven't been that tough, and our wins have been not really that impressive. But going into this game, I thought, if we can get in it for this game with the squad we put out, I would start to maybe believe it we're going places. And I now folk have basically got to sit and take notice first, because I thought that was a fantastic win. Bolton, the reigning champions. If you think back to last season, anybody going there and winning, it would have been seen as a massive achievement. I don't think they've regressed that much. They've maybe had a wee bit of stuttery start, but I still think it was a fantastic win.
Absolutely. And one of the things that has coincided with your good form of late particularly was the acquisition of Neil as assistant. It has been, I think, more for banter than anything else, but it's definitely warranted an improvement, and it has been seen in some quarters as controversial. So Neil, maybe you could just explain to people, what role exactly are you playing at Midlothian? I mean, we can see from the camera you're not the same person. You are two separate people.
So Iain initially hired me as a dummy actor to cover for his second persona, The Rocks. However, I then became sentient and I'm now the assistant boss. I guess Iain messaged me at the start of the season and said, look, I've seen the stuff that you're doing. Do you want to get involved, even just bamming up the opposition? But just have a chat about tactics and stuff like that and bounce ideas off. And to be honest, that's what it is. Like, we're chatting all through the week, bouncing ideas back and forth. It's been really productive. I mean, we were talking about the other day, and the changes we've made, it's almost, I mean, Iain's, I have to say, a lot of the rotation and a lot of the squad management, Iain's done brilliantly with. He's got a really good knowledge of his squad, knows how the boys play, which has helped me when I forget that we have, like, Eric Addo in the squad, who I'd forgotten we had until about week 8. And then just looking at formations and trying out different things. I run a few trials and stuff on a couple of saves, and it works really well. We just we seem to have similar ideas, and it's actually just, it allows us to plan really well. I mean, coming up for the transfer window, we've got plans for guys we want in the league that we think we can get. We've got plans for guys outside the league we can get. And yeah, it just works.
And if I can, doing phenomenally well with the Scandi Nord stream, very much like Boise and Mellor on the Tayside stream. You guys are proving really popular in the CM community. Can I ask you, as someone who is not directly involved in the Super League as such, what is it about the Super League you think that works really well? Because obviously I've been here since the start, and the reason is I really enjoy that, you know, as much as I hate losing every week, I accept it because I really enjoy the banter between the managers and all the stuff that legends, Alan, Boise, and now Martin does. What is it from an outsider that works really well about the Super League?
I think it's just the fact you've got all the best players in the game all together, or the alleged best players all together in the same league. And I think ultimately, if you look at football, everyone would love to see all of these players playing against each other. Like, who wouldn't like to see? You just look at our game from the weekend. That Bolton side is loaded with quality players. We've got a side that probably man for man, you could argue possibly isn't quite there, but you got like Vieri going to get up against Jaap Stam, and you've got guys like Montella going up against, I mean, for us on Sunday, it was Addo and Klompe. I don't think anyone would have seen us necessarily coming out like that on top, but it works because it's the best players, and I think there's always an interest in that, regardless of what game you're playing or what you're wanting to watch. Everyone kind of fantasizes about best v best, and that's what this is. So I like it. I kind of, at the start of the season, I watched the preview show, thought, yeah, I'll watch it, and the fact I'm actually involved in it as well, it's just added to it for me. So yeah, I'm loving it.
And on the point of the best versus the best, I have to say, I think it's official now that the Super League is the best league in the world. I mean, in the background, I've got what is Man City versus Arsenal playing. We've got some of the world's greatest players on show, but they're playing in front of attendance of about 331 people, whereas each game gets about 50,000 people in the Super League. Need I say more?
Exactly.
Just a quick word then, Iain, on Bolton, if you may. You set up very similar tactically. I've been critical of them, but they have shown recently that they are getting back to where they were last year. But this is going to be seen as a massive disappointment for them, losing at home to yourselves.
I think so, but when you look at the game, I've taken a couple of notes here. They had 10 shots on goal, we had 8 shots on goal, 4 on target for Bolton, 5 on target for ourselves. The ratings were, I'd say they were substantially better than ours. They had a lot of 8s and 7s, we had a lot of 6s. It's nowhere near a champion, but I didn't think they're far from it. We probably just about snuck it, but I wouldn't think there's too much to worry for Ryan. I think maybe because their standards are set that high, that's how it's been perceived, that they've had a bit of a sticky start. But if you cast your mind back, they had a slow start last season. They were doing the bottom for the first 4 games or something, I can't remember. But initially they had a poor start, but I've no doubt that they'll make the playoffs. Like, I seen Ryan had a wee comment saying that they're going to finish above us this season. I'd like to put money on that because I didn't see that happening. But I definitely see them making the playoffs.
I was going to ask, at this point, we're ever so slightly over a third of the way through the season. Do you think, A, both teams will finish in the top 6, and B, which one of you will finish higher?
I think we'll both make it. The way I'd say the top 4, I mean, top. To be honest with you, I could only maybe see Panathinaikos slipping because they seem to have stalled a wee bit. And I'd say they've got the weakest squad out of the teams currently in the top 6. So if I was to put money on it, I'd say they might be at risk. But again, it's tricky to say. I fancy Bolton to make it, but I think we're going for it. We're taking this serious. Like, we're definitely going for it. And just a quick word on the Rocks before we move on. He's kind of underplaying his role a wee bit. I know we have a bit of banter in that, but I have to say, I didn't think I would ever have dropped in Penza. So the Rocks has got to take immense credit for that. And also, the formation change was probably mere him. So all these rumours that he's been the difference is probably true. He probably is a manager.
Well, you mentioned them there. So if we come on to your partners in crime in terms of the anti-football 271, Panathinaikos lost away at Asta. There were some interesting points generally, I think, throughout the game, and two that I wanted to ask you both about. In the more general terms, the selection of a penalty taker, obviously, I can't remember who it was. Was it? No, it wasn't Saeed. Someone missed a penalty for Palmer.
Daisy.
That's it. Do you guys make a point of picking a penalty taker?
We do, but again, we only have 2 penalty takers selected, so if either of them wasn't to play, then it would just be a case of pot luck. So I think Chris he did make a point of picking a penalty taker, but it's just unfortunate that he didn't have any of them playing. So I think it was just an oversight, but I don't think it'll happen again. I think he'll have like 10 selected just in case.
And there was a question, and again, there always seems to be questions about Alf, which, as I've said, I think every week, I will never question Alf. He's an absolute legend. Do you think, or do both of you think, he knows his strongest 11?
I think he plays a lot. I mean, he seems to have this edited database with his squad, which he puts into various leagues around the world and plays stuff. I think he's got 3 or 4 systems. I think it's just he doesn't know what one works best. And I think, in a way, it's a little bit like ourselves. You look at the opening 4 weeks of the season, we tinkered and tinkered and tinkered. And then we came across this formation, and it's worked for us. I wonder, I mean, I'm not convinced that what he's played at the weekend's his strongest formation. I mean, you look at it, they had 2 shots on goal. Yeah, they were solid, but they're playing against the side that ultimately there's no Trezeguet, no Henry. Like, I'm pretty sure my granny could stop that Panathinaikos attack without Trezeguet and Henry. Like, Lehman saved a pen. Credit to him. It's great Lehman's performed for him as well. And I think that's been part of his problem as well. His goalkeepers have massively underperformed. But it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, I know Alf's got he's had a lot of, obviously, history in the Super League. I just wonder whether he might sneak top 6 if he comes across something in the next 3-4 weeks. It's just, I think sometimes he's actually got to settle a little bit more, because he's been Claudio Ranieri on crystal meth, like, tinkering. So.
And you touched on it there. So, Iain, if I can ask you, the subject of goalkeepers, I think it was Martin made the point, particularly with Asta, goalkeepers very quickly get the blame in this league. And I know goalkeepers is a point of contention with Midlothian about Shay Given not getting the recognition he deserves. Do you think it's right that people are blaming their keepers and dropping their keepers too easy? Or do you think that it's, as I've said before, it's just a case of with all the world's greatest strikers and attacking midfielders, they are going to concede goals?
I think so. I mean, my experience when I've always played champ, your keepers are always liable to throw in a 6, and I think it's just a case of get a 6, next game we'll get an 8 or a man in the match. But I think they're really streaky, I think, goalkeepers, and the run at Shea Given our keepers on at the moment, I didn't think I've ever seen a keeper being that consistent with like 8s, 9s, and I genuinely didn't think I've ever seen it. So I'm just waiting on him falling. I've had that discussion with Neil. I think the keepers, I mean, you can rotate, but I'm no one for rotating myself. I think you've just sometimes, if they're getting like consecutive 5s, drop them. But I think you've got to just maybe bite the bullet and take the hit on a couple of 6s. I don't think there's much else you can do, really, because as I say, even the best, like Buffon and that, they're always liable to get a 6. I think it's just it comes with the territory keepers there.
Well, as you mentioned Buffon there, let's head over to E-Tech, who dropped more points, this time perhaps not surprisingly, away at Churchtown. What do you make of Churchtown since they've changed their tactics? Obviously, they had Greavesy come in for the game, and then Kieran stuck with it. I think he tweaked it slightly, but he kept the general shape of what Greavesy had the week before. Can you see them continuing with that, or do you think he'll go back to his more traditional sort of 3 up top and just the long line of people behind?
So I've done I did a bit of research for the Team of the Week stuff because I wasn't sure if we're picking it on this. And the immediate thing that jumps out for me when it comes to Churchtown is I've noted down 5, if not 6 of their players as potential Team of the Week candidates. Like, I don't think it matters what formation they play. The squad they've got, for me, they're favourites to win this. Like, the squad that they've got with the depth that they've got as well, they should, for me, they're favourites for the league. I don't think it makes a massive difference. I think he's got the ability to tinker with it. I think he can play different systems, which I'm not sure some other managers in the league have necessarily got the squad for. I think they're going to be really difficult to stop.
And what about BTEC? Obviously, we all like Churchtown. At the start of the season, I think Churchtown, BTEC, Vallon, and probably Bolton as defending champions were widely considered as the 4 to beat. And throw Ardsley in there for their squad as well. Can you see BTEC still making a challenge? Do you think? Or why is it that they can't get a run going with that squad?
I think, to score 2 goals away from home and no win is pretty unfortunate. And as Neil was touching on, Churchtown, they're looking pretty good for. I think they might be in the top 2 anyway. But Iain, they're not performing that badly. I see Ferdinand got an 8, Dyer got 7, Agahiwa got an 8 as well. Agahiwa's coming into a bit of game. They had like 8 shots of goal, 7 on target. That's not bad. You know what I mean? It's look at after the 2 shots. Away to Churchtown. So it's that, as I say to Ian as well, we can't keep saying, "Oh, you're playing well," because he's just not getting the results. And I think he's well aware he needs a striker. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I've seen Palermo got a 6, and I just think again, sort of with the same with the keeper, has he maybe got to give them I think Palermo's capable of scoring. I'm no that aware. I quite like Palermo, but again, he's no top tier, but he seems to be chopping and changing it as you would if you're not getting. But I think he's maybe just got to bite the bullet and maybe give one or two of them a run and see what happens. But Iain, he's obviously going to be concerned, but he's not far away. And I think if he gets a world-class striker, you'll see improvement.
Well, the thing is that they did change their tactics again, so he is continuing to try things to get it right, and I think all respect to him for doing so. If we carry on with the teams if we look at the teams you're chasing, even Ardsley continue to lead the way. I think the manner of the victory, personally, shows. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but the form of champions. Neil, would you agree with that?
I don't know. I fell asleep. Honestly, 3-1-0 wins on the bounce. To be fair, I like his formation, and I like the fact he goes balls out with 3 up front. I think it's great, and he does create chances. He's got a tune out of Madeira, which I was a little bit surprised at, because I think you look at guys like Shigalko, who, let's face it, aren't firing in a game where you've got the best players in the league in it. But Madeira's firing. Nikiforenko, I believe he signed in the summer. Great signing. He seems to have. I mean, I've got Landro down here, 6 saves, which is pretty impressive. And guys like Zauri as well playing well, and they've got. I mean, particularly in that kind of back 6 and the wing back area, they've got so much depth, and that's where they're generating a lot of stuff from. I mean, I think if I was to go squad for squad between Churchtown and Ardsley and ourselves, I picked Churchtown as favourites. In terms of who I would not want to face in a one-off battle, it would probably be Ardsley, because I think with Churchtown you might end up in a ding-dong 4-3. With Ardsley, you have to score first. Like, I just don't see them conceding too many. So, fair play to them. Good, decent win away from home as well.
Oh, without doubt. On Hoddesdon, I think the manner of their performance, when a lot of people continue to write them off and question the quality of the squad, I think they've shown they're capable against one of the very best.
They absolutely have. They were. I think they were extremely unfortunate to lose that match. The stats were totally weighed in their favour. Willie Samuel getting a 9. He was the guy that stood out for me most actually. Batistuta getting an 8. 9 shots on goal, 6 on target. I think they were extremely unfortunate. The one thing for Hodds is Shigalko is just no doing it. He's no turning up, and I think that would be a concern. I know Craig's tried Batistuta on his own, Shigalko on his own. That didn't seem to be working, so he played the two of them. Batistuta got an 8, Shigalko got a 6. I think he's going to be worried at that, but I think he's getting to the end of his tether with Shigalko, to be honest with you. But he was mightily unfortunate to lose that, I think.
Well, I mean, just on my part, and again, I know I'm sort of repeating stuff I've said on other shows. I think it could be the time. I think it was last week, possibly Iain suggested, or it could have been Hodgie, to be fair, that they're possibly or probably not going to make the playoffs now. So it could be a time to try stuff ready for next year. I'm a big advocate for Eto'o being up front. Now, if this is going to be Batistuta's last year, play the two of them together maybe. Because Eto'o will get you 20 goals. He did it for me when, let's face it, I've never achieved a playoff spot, and he got over 20 goals 2 seasons running for me. And then you look at the likes of, I mean, the question is Moukoko. Yes, he's young, but if you've got nothing to play for, could you boost his stats? Or Dunn, for all his questions, actually had a couple of decent games the last couple of weeks, and then he got dropped for Eto'o this week. Could you play the two of them maybe? So I think there's definitely positives there for them.
I think they need to change formation. You look at it, they're the only side that play 4 in the back in the league. They're not scoring goals. They're conceding goals. I mean, it's all well and good. We all know that 4-1-3-2 against the AI works. But when you're playing guys who've got formations exploiting the space, I'm not convinced, like.
How about Eto'o, Batistuta and Shigalko up front? Maybe give that a bash, because you've surely got to play Shigalko and Batistuta. I think that's a given, I think, eh? But maybe try an Eto'o up there with them as well. I don't know. It's maybe something for Craig to look at, eh? Yeah,
possibly. Another team who I felt equipped themselves very, very well was Rock Bottom Sloths. They hosted Valen, and yes, they lost again, but it was very, very close in terms of the scoreline, and I think they showed that they're getting there. Neil?
Yeah, 100%. I think when I watched the preview show before I got involved with Midlothian, I was looking at Sloths going, I love that squad. I absolutely love it. And the past 2 or 3 weeks, he's been tinkering with formations that have got closer and closer and closer. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them snap out 2 or 3 wins in the next few weeks. Exactly. And I think, I don't know if this is just all a fucking master plan, just to lull us into a false sense of security, and they're going to rock off 12 wins on the spin or something like that. Like, start having parties around at Michael Barrymore's house with Rivaldo. Like, who knows? But they've got something there. I mean, I was a little bit disappointed. I don't think D'Alessandro played this week, and I thought it was weird. It's one of these weird affectations of watching the commentary and stuff. I thought D'Alessandro was actually really in the game that they played last week or a couple of weeks ago, and he ended up getting a 6, and I was looking at it going, he's getting a 6, John Welsh is getting a bloody 12 or something like that. Like, what's going on? But he's got some talent there. Like, and again, he's got Taibbi's had a good game for him. He's got a couple of good defenders. He's got a lot of attacking talent that a lot of other people would want as well. I think they've got a lot to be positive about, frankly, other than the position in the table.
And on the flip side of that, Iain, Valen kept their much more shackles off formation, if you like. Got another positive result. Do you think this is something they will persist with, or do you think it's just they played us, they played Sloths, they've gone for goals, and now they'll revert back to what's served them so well?
Well, initially I was thinking that, but I think you seen that they were slipping up a wee bit this season. Like last season, they were nobody was touching them, but this season I think maybe that formation was getting sussed a wee bit. So I think he's changed it up, and they're still second in the league. I mean, folk were saying, they've been poor and stuff, but they're just quietly going to put the business. And I think he's going to stick with that because they're winning. So I didn't see any reason why he would change it if they're winning. You know what I mean?
We've just got 2 more games to look at before we do our first midweek talk of Team of the Week. And I've had a quick look at the time. I think we're doing okay. Neil, we're going to go to my game next, and I'll obviously comment on my team afterwards. But I just wanted, as someone who enjoys what did you describe the Ardsley formation at? A balls out formation. What did you make of the random formation generator coming out with a 5-0-5 this week?
I mean, it's literally a roll of the dice. I mean, that's what I'm putting it down to. I reckon you just line up little columns with defender, defensive midfielder, roll a dice. That's how you get the number. I think, particularly looking at the attacking wide men, I was really surprised at that. I don't know. I think it seems to be a relatively common thing that not an awful lot of people play those kind of attacking wide men. So it was interesting to see that. I thought the back 5 of Swindon, back 5, back 6 were amazing, considering it was literally, they had nothing in front of them. Like Clarence Seedorf strolling around with a cigar in the opposition kind of 30 yards to goal. But yeah, I mean, I've actually noted down the 3-star performers for your guys. Other than, I mean, Clivert got a goal. Aye, very good. Well done him. But Costanzo, Mendes and Foy were brilliant. And that back 5, back 6 made a huge difference. I'm interested to see if you do stick with that going forward, whether they can continuously churn out a performance like that. Because Dragons, 5 shots on goal. You obviously kept them at only 5 shots on goal, but would that work against the likes of, let's say, Valent, where they've got the 3 up top, you've got Totti pulling the strings, the 2 wingers pushing, whether or not they could get away with that. But ultimately, if you've got 5 guys at the other end of the pitch, it's entirely possible. You might just put the ball long and bloody Filippo Inzaghi on the 1 occasion out of 20 is not offside, pops one in. Like, happy days.
Well, on what you said there, I can confirm, I don't know if you've seen them, Kieran came out Monday and said, you can put me on record 5 feet, I'm playing 1 at the back, and posted a team. I came out and said the difference between him saying he'll play 1 at the back and me saying I will stick with 5-0-5 is only one of us is telling the truth. I then posted my team sticking with my 5-0-5 with Montero and Zidane still injured. I can go on record now saying I have given Martin my 5-0-5 and we're going after Churchtown. Because no one else, everyone else is shit scared of their squad. I've got nothing to lose. As you know, I've finally managed to get the game back. And on my home save, I've played this 5-0-5 and my current record is something like, it only seems to work at home, but it's played 25, 120, drawn 3, lost 2. Now, I know it's a home save against AI, and my most traditional score is winning 4-2. I will always concede goals. It's what I do. It's just, I need Ronaldo, I need Cliver, I need Seedorf, I need people like that to start doing their job and scoring. And I think I will start climbing the table.
Can I just say, because I know, I'm pretty sure you played Ronaldo in the 10 position, didn't you?
He's up front.
For the love of God, stick him up front. Like, honestly, like, I don't know what you need to do. Put as many Brazilian transsexuals in the opposition box as possible and get Ronaldo running in there, like bombing on like prime Frank Lampard. Like, he needs to be up top. That 10 position is not his position. I don't care if he's got FC. I don't care if he's got AM. I don't care if it literally says, play me an attacking midfield. Fucking put him up front, right?
Well, I've made 2 changes, which again is public record now. Holland's been dropped for his 6 out of 10 performance, been replaced with Pancaro, and Inzaghi's been dropped for his 6 out of 10. Ronaldo's gone up front, Seedorf's gone behind the front 2, and ABAD's gone out on the wing.
Like it. I'm no sold on Ebiadi, but I like it more with Ronaldo up top.
ABAD is my Archie back. He's that sort of rogue player that's come in and actually never lets me down, but he's that one that always gets dropped when things aren't going right.
Yeah, but we'll never drop Archie back. Iain would have to kill me.
Iain, a quick note on Dragons. They're suffering, I think, with the same thing I am. It's just their attackers don't score, isn't it?
As I mean, look at the start of the season, they were conceding a ton of goals, and it was looking pretty grim for them, wasn't it? They weren't looking very very good at all. But Brozex came onto a game. Giggs is probably the most consistent player. Keane's fell away a wee bit, but I think our draw was probably fair in that game, to be honest with you. They had 10 shots on goal, you had 9. 5 on target, 6 to yours, 6 on target. Giggs with a 9, as I say, man in the match. He's in my team of the week. They're picking up results here. I don't know if the start of the season's maybe been too much. It's going to be too much for them to claw back for the playoffs, but they're always dangerous. I mean, we've got them this weekend, and we're not taking it. You know, it's going to be a tough game, huh?
I've just had the warning that we've only got 10 minutes left. So a quick word before we move on to Team of the Week on Hooligans v Chudley. I personally thought Hooligans were very unlucky. I know you both have probably quite a lot you want to say about Chudley. So Iain, if you want to go first, just a few comments on the game.
I was looking at during the game. You would have thought Hools were unlucky. I mean, then I was looking at the shots on goal, shots on target. It's definitely stacked in Chudley's favour, isn't it? But I mean, they score on the stroke of half time, and then on the 90th minute, maybe a touch fortunate. Sorry?
Forget anything I've done to score on the stroke of half time and on the stroke of full time. That is shithousery.
As but again, if you're going to Hools and winning it, it's a good result. I'm going to rise above all the shit and all the horseplay and stuff, and just show a bit of class that us in Scotland have. But I think again, Rossini getting a 9, Van Bommel 9, Bouma 9. That's a good performance. You've got to say, to go away to, as I say, Hools and get the win. It's a good result. I didn't think they'll make the playoffs, so in the nicest possible way.
Before we talk Team of the Week, Neil, any last comments on the Chudley game you want to make?
I'm gonna disagree with the gaffer slightly and say I think if Chudley don't make the playoffs, then they've really fucked up, because that squad with the system they're playing. I mean, Bouma for me probably top 15 in the game with the impact he can make. He's getting a bit of a tune out of Eshtabaria, who's another player that I love. He's got Van Bommel. If he can get someone scoring consistently, they should be top 6. And just a word on his keeper as well. Every week, everyone turns around and says Pagliuca or Pagliuca or whatever should be playing. Fuck that. Andre's decent. Like, enough of that. Anyone else who says that, in the bin.
Right, Team of the Week. We discussed it in the private chat amongst the managers, and we decided that instead of the panel that was in place, it would be down to the guests and myself to have a chat and discuss Team of the Week. I know you both have had a lot to say about Team of the Week, particularly the last few weeks. I'll run through what I've picked, and then we can talk about your choices. I've gone for a sort of 4-4-2 / 4-1-3-2, and the only one I struggled with was goalkeeper. I had 2 choices. I had Landrew, but I swapped him for Taibbi. I've gone for a back 4 of Duff, Lasisi, Yepes and Balmer. Van Bommel as the holding midfielder, with Robin and Giggs on the wings and Totti in the middle, Van Nistelrooy and Rossini up front. So, Iain, if we want to start with you, what has been your choices? Is there any the same, any different, and some of the standout picks as to why?
Well, I've went for maybe keeping it in the spirit what the Team Week panel do. I've not went with a formation. I've just went with like a fluid, all-round free roll for everybody, and I've just basically listed the best players so they can play in a fluid formation. So there's no fixed formation. Nobody's playing out of position. They just play wherever necessary. I went for Landrew in goals. It was a close call between him and Taibbi, but I looking at the individual, like the saves and stuff, I think Landrew just tipped it for me. Then I'll just run through it. I'm not going to go. I went with Willie Sagnol, Bouma, Sol Campbell, Ayala, Rossini, Robin, Totti, Van Nistelrooy, Olusegun and Giggs. Again, I think there's maybe a few too many strikers in there. That they guys were basically the best performers, and I think you probably could squeeze some sort of 3-5 something or other out. But again, I've not listed the formation, but they were the best performers.
Just trying to keep up with what you said there. You had Balmer, same as me. I heard Robin. I heard Totti. I heard Van Nistelrooy. I heard Rossini. I heard Giggs. I think I heard Van Bommel.
You did. No, you never heard Van Bommel. He was going to be in at 6, but I had to put Rossini in, so I didn't put Van Bommel in. I put Rossini in at 6 just to play somewhere in the opposition half.
So it was just the defenders really that was different, and like I say, I was going to pick Landrew anyway. So Neil, if you want to run through your choices as well before we finalise what the team is.
You mean if I'm not picking any Leeds United team of the late 90s? Because I presume that's the basis this is being picked on. I've just got to pick players that were born in Yorkshire.
You can base it on anything you like, mate. I mean, I know Iain knows. I don't know if you were aware, but one of the managers who was on the Team of the Week panel had a thing where he wouldn't pick any player where the team had an assistant manager.
So I'm going to, right, for starters, I get Landrew had a great performance. I get Taibbi had a great performance. Shay Given averaged an 8 against Bolton, who are the reigning champions. Given gets in.
Yes.
Right back, Sanyol's had a good game, but you know what, again, as much for the rest of the season as what he's done, I'm picking Dojaj as well. At right back, now that's where the Midlothian stuff ends, you'll be pleased to know. But I think both of them have been so consistent and they performed that well against the champions in a game where we were not on top. They deserve to get in. In terms of left sides, I'm going to go Bauma. I know him and Giggs are playing a similar position. You put them on the left-hand side, one in the other. One can go in defence, one can go in midfield, whatever you fucking want, frankly. Defensively, I think Lilian Thuram had a good game. I'd stick him in. And it's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go with a Swindon boy. I'm going to go with Mendes. I think he had a really good game. So that rounds out the back four. And then I've got Giggs or Bauma in midfield. Who else is there? You've got to pick Totti because he ran that game. I think he was the only, or one of only a couple of 10 ratings this week. You've got to pick Robin as well. And then, so that's what, 3 in the middle. I think 3 in the middle's fine. And then I think you go up front. I think you've got to go Van Nistelrooy. Well, again, he rated a 10. You've got to go Van Nistelrooy. I think Rossini as well for the 9 that he got. And I've got to pick one more attacker for this kind of hodgepodge 4-3-3. I'm going to pick Olusegun, who didn't score, but he got an assist, 3 key passes, and he was kind of the unsung hero of that Churchtown attack. And I think Olusegun doing a lot of the dirty work enables Van Nistelrooy to do what he wants to do and Robin to do what he wants to do as well. So that's my tuppence worth.
So, judging from what we've all said, I think we can say that Totti gets Star of the Week, without doubt.
Yeah.
In terms of players we've agreed at, and I've sort of been ticking them off or circling, we've got, because 2 of us were going to pick him anyway, Landrew's going to be the goalie, Bauma's playing left back, Sanyol right back. We've got the choice of 5 centre-backs there, so we'll have to decide on that possibly off air when I publish the actual image of Team of the Week. Giggs and Robin are going to play on the wings with Totti, and it's just whether we have Van Bommel in a holding role or we stick with them 3 and go with Olusegun up front with Van Nistelrooy and Rossini. Iain, do you want to cast a vote on that one?
You're probably better asking the manager on this one. I'm just the ask the brains. He'll keep up the deciding vote.
I think we need to talk about it online because or offline because I never threw it in the mix the fact that Tobias Grand made me a cracking cup of tea this week. That means that he's got as much legitimacy to be in the side as previous Team of the Week selections. So I think we'll take that bit offline. But yeah, we've agreed on what, 7 out of the 11? That's not bad.
I'll tell you what then, boys. We'll leave it there. I want to thank you both for coming on. I'll drop you both a message so we can finalise the Team of the Week so I can get the image for this weekend blog. But Iain, thank you very much for coming on again. Always a pleasure. Neil, great to have you on. Good luck with the Scandi Nords. I love watching it since I've got engrossed in watching these CM streams. I really love the banter between the people watching it as well. Quality work. Thank you both for coming on. Who have Midlothian got this weekend?
Dragons at home.
Yeah. So cheers, boys, and fuck Chudley.
If I can get a point against Dragons, you can take Boise and Jamie to school, surely, lads.
Absolutely.
Have a good evening, guys, and I'll speak to you on Sunday.
Cheers, perfect. Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
guys.
Ta-ra.